Hi, and welcome to another episode of my podcast, Your Voice. As always, I have a very interesting guest today as well, Svjetlana. Hi, Svjetlana.
Hi.
Hi. Svjetlana, you're going to tell us a little bit about yourself. And what we will be talking today is about personal journeys, personal development, growth, connected also with women in business. And I would like to give a word to you, Svjetlana, to tell us a little bit about yourself, maybe in 2 or 3 sentences. So who you are and what you do.
Hi, Katja, and hi everyone who will be listening. So, I'm Svjetlana, and I'm from Croatia. Well, what I do right now is I help women who outgrew their careers. Those that were many years in a certain career, they outgrew it and they became unhappy and unfulfilled and very often feeling stuck there. And so I help those women to find clarity, what they really would like for their next chapter. And also I help them to move there with confidence and clarity.
Lovely.
That's all in short.
Tell me, when you say about careers, who specifically does come to your programs or to your consultings, coachings? Are there women from corporate world or women who have also their own companies?
Mostly women who were, in the corporate world, employed somewhere. And they are usually high achievers. They succeeded, they made it, they did everything right most of the time. They climbed the career ladder. And then after years of doing that, they feel empty and they feel unhappy. And this is where they come to me to help, so that I help them figure out what they want to do next.
Lovely. Yeah. Do you see a trend of this rising or falling? What is your feeling about this? Do more and more women come? Do more and more women search for your help and support?
Well, maybe because I'm in this business, I would say that it's rising, but because that's just my perspective, because I'm more in this field and, I'm noticing more. So I would say it's rising, but I really don't have statistics about it. So I can't tell for real. But I know that there are many. I'm sorry.
Yeah, sure. Go on.
But I know that there are many women out there who are not happy. And it's also not so, it's hard to tell because it's hard to tell how many, because we don't really go out and talk about it. Like if you are I don't know, when I was on I was on the cruise ships, and when I was working as a hotel manager, you don't talk out loud. Now I don't like it anymore. So
That's true. It's actually an inner transformation first, or let's say something has to come together that you make the next step. Yeah. And then they search for you. Talking about cruise ships, you already, let's say, pointed out my next question, because it's so much connected with where you were working and what was then the feeling that said, okay, I need to switch my career, right? So tell me, where did you work before you went into your own company, establishing your own company?
I spent many years on cruise ships.
Mm-hmm.
I was sailing on cruise ships at sea and on rivers. And so that was my previous career and lifestyle, because when you are there, it's not just a career, it's a lifestyle.
Definitely. But you at some point also felt the same as probably your clients now feel, the feeling that you were empty. Yes, you said before, and also that you need to change something. When did this feeling come, and do you remember where were you at that point?
So yes, I definitely felt that way. And when did it come? It was the last few years of my ship career, and the feeling didn't come like at once. There was not a moment when it came. This, well, at least to me, and I think also usually in other women, it grows over the time slowly. And at first we don't even notice it. And then if we are intentionally thinking about if we are very intentional about our feelings and more doing the introspection and being very like thinking about ourselves, then we would recognize it. Maybe sometimes we don't even recognize it for a long time. So what happened to me, it was just slowly growing. And then one day I just had to admit, okay, that's not it anymore. But it's very interesting how it's so subtle until you really realize, okay, well, that's not for me anymore. And also it can be because many of us, we like the career we choose. Like I used to love that job. I like that lifestyle. And then it's kind of hard even to recognize first, like what's wrong now? Like I used to like it. Why am I now feeling this way? And then, so one thing is to even recognize it. And then second, that we have to admit it to ourselves that that's not for us anymore. We outgrew the life we built so far. So
Yeah.
that's what happened to me as well.
Yes, I always see this also in my industry or in my job or program, that it comes in layers, definitely, and that yeah, it's a change of lifestyle, definitely. A new identity, we can even say, is
Yes.
growing, and this really takes time. And of course, yes, some of us or some people do that very quickly, right? The transformation, some a little bit slower, maybe
Yeah.
somebody never, right? How many years were you working on the cruise ships? How many years did it take you to change your lifestyle, not lifestyle, but maybe identity a little bit?
Oh, I worked many years. I worked 16 years
Wow.
in total. Yeah. First few years at sea, and then on the rivers much longer, 12. And you said something that I wanted to mention, a real life experience.
Mm,
When you mentioned that some people even don't realize or they don't do anything about it. So even to like, I didn't realize, admit that, okay, I grew this career and then left next morning. No, of course not. Of course, you test, you see, okay, is it just the bad season? Is it just the, something?
yes,
So I
yes,
didn't just leave immediately.
yes.
But eventually I did. I decided and I left. And now when you were saying this, how some people never, I remember how my ex-colleague once, and she was so like uh, she told me she was kind of impressed that just can decide and leave, and she said, "Oh, I admire Svetlana because how you can just leave even without knowing what's next." Because I just left, I had no idea. I mean, I'm not recommending this to anyone, but I just left and I had no plan for the future, which is not always good to do, but yeah, that's how it is. So yeah, so this, I just remember that moment when she told me how you just leave and even not knowing what's gonna come next. So yeah, when you said that some people never do, many people just stay there, and because what I think is their pain of leaving, it's still higher than pain of staying, and then we just choose less pain.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. We are actually inclined to do that. Also, when we build new identities, we want to avoid pain. And I think maybe I will not say the most successful, but certainly people who go through a lot of transformations and deep transformations, their threshold for pain is higher definitely than anyone else's. So yeah, we just stand, yeah. But if we want to go through a big transformation, pain is not something that we can avoid, definitely. It just depends on how deep we can go with the pain and how deep the transformation we allow to happen, right?
Yes.
And maybe through that, usually what happens on the other side is the success. I'm talking from my own experiences, of course, still in the transformations, always, right? Never ending. But this is what I gathered, also talking to other people. What happened to this lady who told you, uh, I just can't believe you do this, just go up and leave? Do you still have contact with her?
She's still on shifts.
She's still on ships?
Yeah, well, in a different position. I mean, she was already in a different position. A position which is not all the time on the ship, but almost.
Right,
But
right.
yeah, still doing the job which she was doing at that time when she told me that. Yeah. I
Is
mean,
she
nothing
happy?
wrong with that. I understand. I just
Yeah.
remembered when you said some people never do it. And that's, and then now when I look back also, so many people are stay at the positions where they are not happy anymore. And yeah, this is just something which is actually so much impacting our life.
So from this, I can ask you, is she happy? Do you see her as happy, this lady?
Well, now we don't have a contact so
Mhm.
often, so I don't know anymore. That was like a one random encounter when we met before.
I understand. When you talked about when you said that, yeah, it just takes time and courage, and that we have this process that we need to go through. Yes, we a lot of times we forget it's not just opening our eyes and say, "Oh, today I'm going to be somebody else," right? And I think we should really pay attention to the process so that even though we feel that we need to do something, that we are really gentle with us and maybe even trust life, that it will show us signs, even more signs or confirmation that we are on the right path, not to force the transformation. This is what I wanted to say. Yeah. So to all of the ladies and gentlemen, of course, what would be your advice when to step out of the identity, when to do the jump? Because I believe you also have maybe somebody coming to you that it's not ready to transform yet, or?
Yes. What I would say is pay attention to yourself, pay attention to what your body says, what your mind says. I mean, if for years already you feel not happy, it's not just like we're not talking about a few weeks, a few bad
Right,
weeks, or a few,
right.
or one season that was maybe different. But if for years already someone feels unhappy, like in my experience, I was sensing that for more years, then it will be time to start asking yourself, okay, what is it now that is not aligned? Because let's say that they loved that before, maybe not, but let's say that they did. And then it's good to just ask, okay, what is it now different that is not aligned anymore? What is it? What is that I don't feel like me
Mm-hmm.
anymore?
Mm-hmm.
So that would be just good to intentionally ask questions, which usually no one is teaching us
Yeah,
unless you, yeah,
that's so true.
yeah. And so it's good to intentionally ask questions. And I'm not saying they will get answers right away, first time you ask. No, it's just good to start intentionally asking questions and just pay attention to how we feel. What is it that we like? What is it that we don't like anymore that is not for us
Yeah.
anymore? What is it that I feel that I outgrew? Like to me was I felt stagnating. There was no learning anymore. There was no, or at least maybe not learning what I like to learn. There was no evolving. I probably could go higher if I wanted and put effort, but I felt that it was not my thing anymore. So then that stagnation started really like killing me, and that was this emptiness that when the emptiness came.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think what you describe, I mean, this is so important for everyone. Again, when they go through the transformation, and when you said questions, right? Questions are so important. They're really, really the most important thing. And like you said, nobody teaches us this. Nobody says, question your life a little bit more, you know?
Yes.
Nobody. Like in
Yeah.
school, this is it. That's it. There are some pit stops that we have, or, chapters, and that's it. Nobody says, maybe it's not a good fit for you, And
Yeah.
then when you start questioning yourself, I
Yeah.
believe through questions, what happened to me, for example, was blaming, shaming first, don't do this, Katya, everybody else is doing the other thing. Don't do it.
Yeah.
But
When you
for
mention
me,
questions, I'm sorry.
no, go on, go on.
But when you mention questions, I wanted to
Hmm.
add that we have like that it's good to question our life, to question and to just pay attention to what our body wants, our soul wants, our heart wants. But then back to questions because it is super important. And I'm
Absolutely.
coming from there. I
I
was
agree.
guilty for what I'm gonna say. It's super important to ask the right questions.
Yeah.
So, for example, instead of asking, why is this happening to me? Why don't I like this job? Why? I don't know, like in this way, more negative, it's better to ask, okay, what is it now that is not aligned with what I do? What is it that, what is it that is not aligned with me, what I do? And what from what I do, what from what I do is not aligned with me anymore. Ask constructive questions on which you can get constructive answer. Because if you ask why me, then probably you're gonna get also like, well, because you choose that job.
Again, yeah, parent or somebody authority, yeah, because you did that, right? It's your
Yeah,
responsibility and your fault. There's
yeah,
always this fault behind it.
yeah. So look for a constructive feedback, for
Mhm.
good answers, for solutions.
Right. Do you do this with your clients when they come to you? Do you also teach them how to question, how to make good questions?
I ask them questions. It's a process. Yeah. Though, like what I do is 3-month process. It's a lot of questions. It's coaching. It's like, I don't tell them what they want to do. It's guiding them with questions and guiding them also through certain processes. Yeah.
Lovely. Lovely. Like we said, questions are absolutely very, very much important. And you said constructive questions. Let's stay there a little bit. So constructive is definitely this alignment, like you said. Does this align still with me? Is there any other question that maybe our viewers could also ask themselves if they are in dilemma right now, what to do with their lives, or maybe their next step should be?
Well, some other questions. And now when we say questions, it's gonna be like, okay, that's it. I ask myself, and then I'm gonna get
Right. Yes, and no answer, right? Or maybe not the right one. And
yes. And like it's gonna seem like, yeah, well, I did ask. But many times when we think we ask maybe not in a good way. So what else they can ask? Maybe they can notice what they used to like when they were this classic one, when they were during the childhood, before the world told them what and expectations and from their environment told them maybe which school they should choose, which university, what is better choice for work, like go and be a doctor because that's respectable, or be a lawyer because you can earn good money. So before the world put expectation and their environment and maybe family or whoever had impact on them during their growing up. So before the world put expectations of that on them, what is it that they truly liked? And another thing what they can do right now is also pay attention when they are doing whatever, when they are at work or even at home or even during their free time, in which moments they feel really, really good, like in which moments they feel in a flow, and in which moments they lose the track of time. This also they can just notice. And then
absolutely.
also nothing bad if, let's say, someone decides to do that and then, no, I forgot to do that already for 3 days. It's okay. It's all process. Yeah, this takes training and time to come to a certain point to realize something, or yeah, we forgot. It's normal. We are having life. So not to be harsh on themselves, but be
Yes. Yes.
doing all this what I said and asking questions very kindly. And be
Gently and
gentle. Like you
kindly.
mentioned, I think already, to be gentle to ourselves.
Yeah, it's such a I mean, I'm thinking about now my transformations and how I changed my identity in a way. I mean, identity, you outgrow the other one and then you upgrade your basic identity. It's not like I would change everything, but one ingredient also strikes me a lot. And I also try to find this in everyone, and I see that in everyone, but in different volumes and in different shapes. It's courage, you know? So besides asking questions, what I think you need also to step out is courage. Yeah. What do you think
Yeah,
about?
yes, it's courage as well. Sorry, I have things on my mind.
It's
So
okay.
because while you were saying, I wanted to reflect on something which you said,
Yes, yes.
and it's about again back to questions and how we
Hmm.
do it. What I wanted to say is that so when we sometimes even ask ourselves, okay, what is it that I would like to do? This is also a very good question that I can ask, even though it's very obvious. But often we ask it in a different ways.
Yes.
But maybe really, truly, honestly, like listen to the heart. And when we ask that, the tendency often is, okay, I can do that, but I don't have, I don't know, this certification. I don't have money. I don't have, I don't know, the place to develop the business. So
Right.
immediately our critique comes, or the problems come. So what I would suggest, and that's part of one strategy which we learned in NLP, neuro linguistic programming. So I will just say, this is a little bit wider, but I'll just say one thing, one, like, let's call it trick. When they ask questions, I would really suggest to stay in the mode of the first phase is stay in the mode of the, how to say, the creator, like someone who can create new things, mode of inspiration. And even if they have to like dedicate a certain place, I don't know, at the table, a corner of the room, light a candle, like make environment, okay, I'll take 20 minutes to ask myself a question, to do the introspective.
Right.
What do I like? Maybe in the past, what did I like? What was I proud of? When is it that I am in a flow? And focus only on this, like looking towards solutions, creative things. Even if something on a first thought impossible comes into your mind, just write it down. And if this critique part of us, or you, whoever will be doing it, if this critique part comes, just put it, like, don't let it come into our thoughts. And of course it's going to come, but then just say, okay, I'll come to you later. You can have a seat there. You can sit there and watch me doing it, but not right now. And continue, go back to your creative mode. So what I'm trying to say is, when you are in the creative mode, do just that. Don't kill it immediately with, I can't do that because, and then deal with that later.
Yeah.
Well, that's just a short from the process.
Yeah. I also talked to a lady once, and she said to me, she gave me a good tip because I was looking for fresh ideas and, again, doing the transformation. And she said, you know what? And I think this aligns very well with what you said, is that when when you have like this old water, like water first, when it starts running, out of the tap, it's probably a little bit, brownish because, the tap was not working for so long and it's maybe an old house or a old plumbing system, right? Take it as this, when you switch it on, it's, the brownish water comes out. This is the first wave, right? Maybe the critiques, everything, but it's flowing. This is important. It's flowing. And then later on, it becomes crystallized and clear. So she said, ask questions, don't give up. Yeah, like this, write down the ideas, write down the replies, and you will get clarity as you go. And while we are also talking about this, I already have the feeling that, and because it happened to me too, is that while I was already doing this is the first step also to doing the transformation. You are already doing it by focusing on yourself, right? By focusing on what do I want and or wish for my future and so on, whatever the question is. You are already starting something that you haven't started before. So the water. And I love how it comes together with the sea and everything that we were talking before. The water is becoming clearer and clearer, maybe even more steadier as you are doing this. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. And what you said about it, when we start asking questions, when we start doing this, like questioning ourselves, listening to ourselves, this is already the beginning of transformation, of course. And then connecting to that, I want to also say that when I mentioned I decided to leave the ships and I left, and also some other jobs before I changed a few careers, that is not everything. Like, you decide and you go, especially after something like very long, like my sea and river, I mean, the ship's career. So, of course, 16 years, they don't just disappear because I decided and I left. And went home. So that was just the decision that I'm going to do it. But after that comes this process of transformation. And after that, you can start before. I didn't, because I didn't know anything about it before. But what I'm trying to say is the process of the change of us, the change of our identity. This lasts for some time. To me, it took quite long, but to some can like more years. To some can take much shorter. It's all different, depending from which point we are starting.
Mm-hmm.
But what I want to say is that the process of transformation which you mentioned, it takes some time, and so just to count on that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I work after that. So when I left ships, then
Mm.
I worked a lot on myself. I hired a coach. Went through the coaching myself, studied, put myself through this NLP, neuro-linguistic programming education, to the level of trainer, like other coach, therapists. A lot I worked on myself to go through this process. Yeah.
And yeah, before you said, if we go a little bit back and then we'll continue with that, you said that you worked on yourself and now you help other women as well and men. So you said it's not for everyone and you would not recommend it to anyone, that you said, like jumping into something new without any plan. But, then let's say the courage, I think, steps in. Like when you are there, it's like either you jump or you don't. And I think it's also important, like ingredient, like we said before, the courage, right, to do it.
Yes.
Because I personally think or believe, and I also had this experience. I had many exits already before I decided to turn the exit to go off the highway, for example.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the courage probably is also one of the things, right? And when you say it's not for everyone, probably also you mean in a way that it's, again, identity. It comes in different shapes, right? And lifestyle. Some of the people really need some conditions, but I think the transformation itself, when you are ready to jump, you can plan, and actually you can maybe see where the safety is, but you have no clue, right? At the end of the
Yeah.
day.
I love that you mentioned courage again, because you mentioned it before and we kind of turned from that. I will write it down so I don't forget. What I want to say when I said it was not for everyone, I meant not for everyone just leaving the job which pay bills without plan further.
Yeah.
This is what I meant, purely because of more like we need we all need to pay bills. So I wouldn't recommend that someone just does it and then this person is in trouble because cannot pay bills anymore. So of course the existential part is important, and I'm not saying just jump off the cliff without planning anything, how
Yeah.
without having a
This
purchase or
is
something.
yeah.
Yeah. So it's different. Some people, like I could do it at that point because also I had some backup that I could live on for some time. Some people, maybe they have it also, but they just still afraid to kind of use it all up for the period of transformation. So it all depends. And then here we come again. So when I said it's not for everyone, I mean really just depending on the life situation. I'm not
Right.
saying you just quit the job and then you cannot pay your bills. And then courage, yeah, it takes courage as well. And then let's just mention that courage is not like that we do something because we don't have a fear. Courage is when we do something even though we have a fear, but we
Yeah.
do it anyway.
We do it anyway.
Yes.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah, definitely. And what I said before is like it comes in different shapes and volumes. So
Yes.
sometimes courage is really the one who pushes you over. Sometimes it's just the addition to what you already feel. Yeah. But this is what I always saw in people, willing to do the transformation. They are probably just building up the courage to jump. They know. It's just that, maybe not the first exit, the second, it's a third. And again, we are going back to the beginning when we said the transformation starts on different levels. It can take years, right? It can take years to do the final step. What I also found very interesting in my clients and in my journey is that when I was preparing myself to jump, also one of the things that would kind of, like, should I do it? Should I not do it? Is I will say now infrastructure, because I never believed when I was preparing to jump, or not totally believing, that there is an infrastructure out there that could actually support my new identity, because I didn't know the world, right? And a lot of times people, because they have this image, let's say, of their life constructed, they just can't believe that there is maybe something out there that could actually also support their new identity, right? So their brain just filters the scenario that they are built in. But what I want us to tell them, to all of the people listening or watching, that whatever infrastructure you will need for your dreams, there is out there. Because otherwise it would never be connected to you. You would never even think it, right? So I
Yes.
think this is very important, that we say to them, there is help, for example, you, that can help these people on their journey. There is an infrastructure out there. There is a way, right?
Yes. Yes, two things now that came to my mind while you were saying that. First is that, yeah, there is infrastructure that can support. I also didn't do everything on my own. It's so much more difficult to do things on our own because it's so hard to go out from our own head. And now I go back to what I wanted to say, and it's connected to this.
Mm-hmm.
It's that it's hard to see. So we see the world. Each of us, we have our own map, what we call in NLP, or like world, and we only see from our perspective, from our previous experiences. We cannot know about something which we don't even know exists. No matter how much person is intelligent, how much person evolved, expanded, there is always a certain limitation to what we know. And what you said, that you didn't know there was infrastructure there which can support
Yes.
you.
Yeah.
If we are not, this is very normal, and I totally agree with that, because again, we only can see or hear or imagine things which we already have in ourselves, based on our previous experiences, based on knowledge that we gained during our life. So we created a certain like model of world in our mind, and we each have a different model of world model in our mind, based on where we grew up, the culture, and so on. And so it's so normal that we cannot maybe think of something which is out there, but we just didn't have that information yet. And the
Yes.
same happened to me. I didn't know about so many things. And then when going back to when I said that I didn't do it by myself, when I was asking myself, and at that time I didn't even know how to ask the right questions.
Yeah.
So, but I was searching, and how I started my journey, like with the help of someone, is I saw that ad on a Facebook which was talking to me, and there was a coach which is living very nearby where I live. And so
Wow.
that's how I found my coach. I contacted her and I started going for coaching. We clicked. She was great, and that's how I made my first steps. So also I didn't do it by myself. I had first help of coach, and then I started other things which slowly were revealed. I was discovering a new world. But I couldn't have done it before because, as you said, I had no idea about some part of infrastructure which
Right.
is out
Right.
there, but I was unconscious of that.
You knew that emptiness was the trigger, and you knew that there is something out there probably, or I need to do something, but then you didn't have any image, right? Because like you
Yes.
said, your brain, your scenario, your world was just, this is it, right? There is a wall. Now what is behind the wall? Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
But we just want to, or I just want to make sure that people also understand, who are watching and listening, that there are probably events in your life, people in your life who bring you the expenditure, right? Maybe there is somebody who does the same work as you would like to do, right? And
Yes.
inspires you. Just take that as a sign, not like I'm not there, or, oh shit, this is not for me. Just take it as a sign that the life is bringing you an opportunity to expand your horizon a little bit, and see that this is also possible. For me,
Yes.
I had all kinds of signs, but my mind was so focused on what I didn't have, like, not have in a way material stuff, but maybe the courage, the confidence, that when I saw these people, yes, I identified them as, okay, they are something new. There's a horizon out there, but I can't do it. I don't have it. I don't have the courage. I don't have the confidence. And then I went another cycle of this, right?
Yeah.
So this is what I really want people to understand, that there are so many ways, probably already now as we are talking, that they can identify, okay, I can maybe do this, this is maybe this could be my new identity. Yeah. No.
Absolutely. I agree. And I totally agree with what you said. And when you were talking about signs and then we don't recognize them, I want to connect to this. That is why exactly it's important to get clarity on what we want, because
Exactly.
our
Yes.
brain will
Yes.
notice something which we fed our brain with information that certain thing is important for us. So as an example, which is very classic in NLP, that we are like usually when you go to NLP, you will probably hear that example. So I'm going to use the same one. So it's example. What do we mean by that? Let's say you decide to buy a car, and you decided that that you want a blue car. And before you decided that, you didn't notice really blue cars on the
Right.
streets.
Right.
But once you decided, you started looking through the catalogs.
So
Oh, I
true.
like the blue car. You
Yeah.
started paying attention. Your brain got the sign that this is important now for Svjetlana, or this is important now for Katja, or for you, whoever is listening. And then we will much more pay attention on the street when we meet a blue car. Suddenly, we will see them everywhere. And before, we didn't see them. And that's why it's very important to get that clarity. What is it exactly that I want? Because then our brain also is noticing what is important. Yeah, but also if I can connect to this just small little, it's not really hack, it's like, again, it's from neuro-linguistic programming. I mean, I learned it there, but it's how our brain functions. So our brain tends to delete, distort, and generalize, because
Yes.
we are every moment we are bombed with so many information, and we can only take in, this is how they say, 5 till 9, like they say 7 plus minus 2 kind of bits of information, or it can be like it can be more information in one chunk if we already kind of automate it and put it together. Anyway, 5 to 9 bits of information. And that's why our brain deletes what is not important, or what it decided that is not important according to the signals we give it,
Mm,
right? So when we decided blue car is important to me, we are noticing it. If not, we ignore. And then
absolutely.
another example for that is if it ever happens to you or to whoever will be listening, that we are doing the same, we are walking the same street every day, and then suddenly one day, shop, I never noticed this shop is
Yeah.
there. And
True.
then you ask, and you realize this shop has been there already for 5 years or 10 years.
Mhm.
And we never noticed because it was not important to us. So we just ignore. So that's
Yeah.
our part of the brain when it ignores what is not important. And that is the function actually that has to do, because we could not handle all these thousands of, or I don't know, billions or millions, I forgot how many informations we are getting. And so it's protecting us. And we only see what is important.
Lovely. I like this explanation, clarification, so that we actually see that it's not like some people can have it, some people can't, but there is a science behind it, facts, brains work like
Yeah.
that, right? It's
Yes.
like also physical. It's not just imaginary or, you know, very well, very well. Now
Yeah.
we are already going into the process of your program, correct? So this would be something that you also give to your clients, right? These
Yes.
information or these processes. Tell us a little
Yes.
bit about your work now at this point. So let's say that I am your client and I come to you, and what would be typical of me? So let's say that I have troubles. I don't know. I really want to change my career. Yeah, not necessarily maybe going into, I don't know, a private sector, like, having my own company, but I want to change career. Would I be a client for you? Could you help me, support me?
Yes, definitely. I could help you. What I do is I help you gain clarity in what you would like. and what you would like for your next chapter. And also we work on, so we go through the structure process, and we also work on internal patterns, on fears, on doubts, so that you can move on with confidence and clarity and courage.
Lovely, lovely.
Yeah.
Tell us, let's say, I will now say infrastructure of your programs. If I come to you, how does the coaching, is it a coaching, yes, or mentorship? Coaching?
Yeah, coaching, one-on-one, yeah.
One-on-one, okay. So how does it go? So once a week, how do we see, I mean, do you have also materials or homeworks you give to the clients? How long is your coaching program?
So the process is 3 months, and we meet one time per week. And I do also some follow-up check-ins in between. I really like to make sure that everything is fine after every session. So it's one session per week. After every session, you get a small assignment. It's nothing you have to do a lot, because many women will say like, yeah, but I'm still working and I don't have time.
Yeah,
It's
yeah, yeah.
nothing,
This is a lot.
like it's not much.
Right.
It's mostly, yeah, it's assignment which you don't need hours to do. So yeah, we meet one-on-one. And so it's very personalized. So it's not, it's discreet. It's not in a group. You don't have to share anything within a group. And yeah, that's it. One time per week, one-on-one. I'm available in between for any questions. After every session, a small, let's call it homework, but it's mostly about introspections or thinking about something. And yeah, that's all.
And with the clarity that they get, sorry.
So no, I wanted to add that we work online.
Yes, you work online. Lovely, lovely. So with the clarity that they get from you, what transformation can they do then?
What transformation? So it really depends on what during the process comes out. Like I don't tell them what they are supposed to do.
Right.
The process is focused really on women discovering themselves or rediscovering themselves and finding what they actually want, what they like, and kind of, coming back to their core. And so it's not like on me to tell them what they should do. They are discovering by themselves. And for example, it doesn't even have to be a career change, even though that was the first idea. And I'll give one example of my client. She was not sure if she liked that job anymore, which she was doing, or not. And then during the process, she only decided that she will just reset her business. Kind of change the way she was doing, change the way, set borders. For example, well, in her case, that was that there were no borders, and then she came to the burnout. So set borders and change the way she was working. Yeah.
That's lovely. I like that a lot. It wasn't a case for me, but I like that. I never thought about these types of transformations, but sometimes, right, the transformations are that you stay and you work on that. Yeah, like you said, maybe putting up the standards, maybe restructuring something, putting up the borders and things like that.
Exactly. Yeah. She set up borders, restructure it.
Super.
And then it was okay. And then she liked it again, because during the whole process, we were coming back that she likes helping people, and she was a doctor. So so she decided that, okay, she likes helping people. She just needs to kind of restructure it.
Restructure it, yes.
Exactly. And set borders. Yeah.
And set border. Yes, definitely. Yeah. Lovely. You mentioned also during the process that you work with their fears, right? With everything that is out there and is really terrifying. One of the things that I found was very important and also helps me now on my journey is that whenever I am in front of a decision or I feel I need to upgrade or maybe restructure something, I always take into account the most horrible scenario it can happen. And when I do this, then suddenly I realized that the possibility of this happening is really not that big, and I'm okay with that. When I'm okay with what happens in the worst case scenario, right, then I can do the step forward also. This is part of the journey that I do also.
Yeah. Yes, exactly. And you can prepare more when you already assume the worst case scenario. You can prepare.
Yes.
And like have options.
and you also ground it, right? You know, okay, this is the reality. It helps the brain as well, I think. I mean, the brain part of our journey, of our, you know, thinking process, that when it, because the brain is obviously meant for us to protect us, right? So it always comes up with the worst case scenarios. And when you say, okay, good, I know it, I can fix it, you know, I have this safety net, whatever it is, I can move forward. Yeah. So this is one. It's also probably also important. So like fears, courage, and then this, when we decide to get off the ship, get off the train, or get on the highway, right?
Yeah, except that I did it without any plan, but okay. Yeah. No, that's and then I wanted to add also, because you said what we work on, and then towards the end of the 3-month program, we set steps, so they don't just leave and now what.
Lovely.
Yeah, so they have at least first steps, kind of a mini plan, what they will start, like what they can do. And we integrate that new identity, or at least the beginning of new identity, because it's not like that. I'm not saying that during the 3 month you can totally change, but it can be many breakthrough, and yes, it can be beginning of a new identity. And depending where the person was, what was the start point of the person, what was the start point of their mindset, what was the start point of their personal development, it can be a new identity, for example, as well. And then last sessions, we focus on goals, we make a plan, and we also work on integrating the new identity.
Lovely. Svetlana, if you could maybe give 1 tip or 2 tips to people listening now or watching us, what would that be if they have this, if they're at the crossroads and they don't know what to do, they're trying to move forward, but you know, what would be their first step?
Well, I would go back to what we already mentioned. First is, so if they are struggling and they just feel this emptiness or feeling of stuck in where they are now, I would first say just stop and really take a moment to admit it to yourself. Because without that, we don't, you know, like you can't quit smoking if you don't admit you're a smoker.
Honest, right? Honesty. When we are
Be
honest,
honest with yourself.
Things are different when you're honest. When there's only yes or no, it's not something in between, right? Yeah.
Yes, yeah, because if we keep stashing it under the rug, then we don't work on it. We cannot change. Like one of the coaches I had, she told me, you can't fix what you're not aware of. So even if they are aware of kind of, but when we keep stashing it under the rug, then we kind of avoiding this awareness.
Avoid it. Yes.
Yeah. So really pause, and I would really recommend to do this like with a real pause, like not like, okay, I'm washing the dishes. Yeah, okay, I'm not happy anymore there. No, really, you know, take a minute, 30 seconds, but, you know, pause, say stop. Yes, okay, something needs to change. This is not who I am anymore. Because this is what happens. Mostly these women outgrew their career because we evolve during life. And at some point, we are not anymore what we used to be when we were in our 20s and 30s. And when we were in our 20s and 30s, then the achievement was probably bigger drive, you know, the title, the salary. So those are the women that are coming to me. Like they succeeded. They have respect, title, salary, but empty inside. So now is the moment. If we evolve, we all outgrew that part of the person who we were. We are not this anymore. So it's a moment to be honest with yourself and admit. And then the second, start asking yourself the right questions. So you can start with what is not aligned, not what do I want and then force it and then get into the stress already, like in the, I don't know. No, okay, start first with, okay, what in what I'm doing right now in my career or job, whatever you call it, what is not aligned with who I became, And yeah, I would maybe take, and this can go on through a period of time. Not everything will come in one session. So maybe take 10 minutes, 15 minutes every few days, once a week, every day, whatever you prefer, but not once per month, please. So let's, you know, like, yeah, I would say maybe even a few times per week. And like, okay, take 10, 15 minutes. What is it that is not aligned with me anymore? What am I doing and I don't feel like doing anymore, but when what is it that I'm doing that I don't feel it's me anymore? And then just start writing down. And then already with what is not for us, we are getting more clarity for what can be for us.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I agree.
that to be honest with yourself, admit it, and then start with writing what is not aligned with who you become. I would
Lovely.
start with that. Yeah.
Svjetlana, thank you very much for this lovely chat. I really enjoyed it. And this, I think, calls for another interview. So we have to set it up because it's such a broad topic, right? And transformations are, like collectively happening, but also inside a lot of people.
Yes.
So I think it needs to be addressed in so many ways. And what I also saw from all of it, and this resonates with me as well, is the communication. It's like, how well do we communicate with ourselves with questions, right? And a lot of people really don't, we were never taught, like you said, with the communication. So we really need to set up another interview. We will talk about this topic also in the future. Thank you very much for your time for now. I hope you enjoyed it as much as I did. Yes. And we'll see each other very, very soon. Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Katja. Thank you for your invitation. I really enjoyed it. And I'm really happy to share what I learned, what I know, what I experienced with others. If it can help, I hope what we said today, even if it's one question, even if it's one small thing, I hope it helped to some of your audience. And I'm glad to come back another time. Happy to do that again. And thanks so much. And greetings to everyone in your audience.
Thank you very much, Svjetlana. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.